Hi friends, it's Carrie from Stretch Chi, up close and personal. Today we're going to talk about life renovations. So I've been telling you about this in my classes, but many years ago I created an online course about how to recreate the life that only you are meant to live. So each week we'll have a diet challenge, we'll have a meditation, I'll give you some stuff to work through, and of course we'll have our lesson. And then I expect all of you to be stretching, of course. So let's get started. So the first week of life renovations is all about awareness. Now, you don't have much to be aware of right now because many of us are on lockdown, right? But you can look at your surroundings, how you're feeling, how your thoughts are processing, and figure out, are you living your best life right now? Or are you living a life that other people want you to live or what you think you're supposed to live? Let's see if we can figure out a way for you to live the life that you really, really want. Now, the first week of life renovations is all about just being aware of the different thought patterns that happen in your body and how they process. So I'm going to shift over to another camera so that I can draw you a pretty picture. Now, I'm not an artist, so just keep that in mind. Okay, here I am. So if this is me, and here I go off of my day out into the world. Now, inside this little head of mine is a brain. It's all covered up by my hair. Now, your brain houses your objective mind. What that means is that it focuses on facts. Your brain wants facts. And it gets those facts through your five senses. So what are your five senses? Well, we've got my eyes, right? So I can see. We have my mouth here so I can taste. I also have a nose, surprise, where you can smell. I have ears to hear. And my hands, wearing mittens right now, not really, and also upside down. So I can feel. And you don't just feel with your hands, you also feel with the rest of your body as well, but you have those five senses. Those five senses give you information from the outside world. So here you are walking down the street, and say you see some birds flying around. Now, those five senses will tell you, hey, I see some birds. Maybe those birds smell funny, so you can be like, oh, I smell birds. Or you probably can't taste birds, but just saying, if it was a chicken, maybe you'd be like, I'm going to eat that bird. And then if the bird landed on your finger, then you could feel the bird. You could definitely hear the birds, right? If they're singing. So you have all these five senses, and those five senses tell you, yes, in fact, these are birds. Kind of cool, right? Now, attached to your spinal cord, you have this bundle of nerves in your belly, usually called the solar plexus, because it's kind of like the sunshine. If you're in a yoga class or something, and they're like, open your solar plexus, and it takes on this like metaphysical thing. But the solar plexus doesn't have to be metaphysical. It's just a load of nerves. Like, it's just nerves in your belly. And these nerves make up the solar plexus. Now, this is factual. This isn't just metaphysics. This is like, you can actually look at a cadaver and see that there's a big bundle of nerves right here, right behind your stomach and your spleen, kind of like right under where your rib cage connects, like right in this space here. I'll show you on my belly. Right here. There's your solar plexus right here. Now, your solar plexus is the center of your subjective mind. So what are subjective things? Well, they're things that you can't actually tangibly put numbers to. Like, it's subjective if you feel happy or sad or scared or feelings, just any feelings in general. So it covers feelings. It covers your gut instincts. Basically, It's the center of your emotional world. All right. So your solar plexus now looks at these birds and it has to make a decision, and it goes by feelings, emotions, and gut to tell you, like, this bird's going to land on my hand. What's going to happen? Am I going to be okay? And you might get a gut feeling that you need to run away, or you might get a gut feeling that, like, maybe you should let that bird sit there and sing for a while. So here you have your objective mind, and you have your subjective mind. Now, there's also one extra piece of us in general, and that's our egoic mind. We have this ego mind. And I'm not talking about like Freud ego or Jung ego. I'm talking more about like Eckhart Tolle ego, like being in the present moment, and your ego mind gets in the way. The ego mind is this like ethereal kind of like thought pattern mind that comes up here, and it's either the devil or the angel, right? You have like this person on this side saying, that's a bad thing. And you have the other person on this side saying, no, do that. That's good. That's a good thing. And either way, whether it's bad or good, is your ego. It's your ego telling you. And your ego gets information from a lot of different places, but mainly from your life experience, from what you've been taught, from what your parents taught you, from what your ancestors survived through or didn't. And these are things that we, the ego basically is a protective mechanism to make sure that we don't do something stupid, right? So the ego mind here is our protective mind. And it's useful sometimes, and sometimes it's really not useful at all. So let's talk about that a bit. So your brain looks at the birds and says, looks like birds, sounds like birds, must be birds. Your solar plexus gets these feelings that say, oh, birds, pretty. Oh, birds, not so pretty. You don't really know. But your ego, if you have a recollection of watching Snow White and the birds come down and sing and sit on your finger and everything's happy and they do the dishes, then your ego is going to say, oh, yay, birds. I love them. Or your ego maybe was watching the movie The Birds and you think that you're in Bodega. Is it Bodega Bay? I think it's Bodega Bay. It's an Alfred Hitchcock movie and all the birds come in and like poke their eyeballs out and stuff, and it's terrifying. So if that's in your mind, then maybe this awful part of your mind is like, birds, no, run. And then a bird landing on your finger is a terrible idea. That's not a gut instinct. That is a learned response, either way, from your ego, your protective mind. It's very helpful in a lot of different ways. Sometimes. And sometimes not. Because what if those birds were awesome? And what if freaking out because the birds maybe are going to poke your eyes out makes it so that as you're running away the other way, you miss the fact that somebody that you really enjoy being around and want to see, again, not the greatest drawer, but, you know, he wears a top hat, is there with an ice cream for you, and you miss it because you're too busy running away from the birds. That's not fun. So you've missed an opportunity for something really great to happen. So there's one more thing that I want to talk about, and it's not just how your objective mind is taking in information or how your subconscious mind is showing you how you feel or how your ego stops you, but also what you're missing. Now there is this outer world, and I'm just going to call this the universal mind. Now you can think of this in a lot of different ways, but the way that I like to think of it is that the universal mind is all knowledge. The universal mind is all knowledge from all time. No limits on time, dimension, nothing. This is the universal information that is around you and at your disposal whenever you want it. Okay, the universal mind to me is very much like what the internet is. It's like you type in some words and then all of a sudden you have all the information that you want. It's like going to the library and walking down the aisles and picking up a book and learning all about aardvarks, and you are suddenly incredibly knowledgeable because there just happened to be a book about aardvarks there. But the universal mind is actually really interesting because it doesn't really link to your brain mind. It doesn't really link to your solar plexus mind, but it hits you in your soul, which is kind of this lovely part right here. This little heart, right? It's where your soul is. Now, your soul doesn't have to be in your heart. Some people think it's in their third eye. Some people think it's, it's basically like, your soul doesn't really have to be anywhere within your body, even at all. It can be whatever you want it to be. But mainly, your soul is the deep part of you that knows all, right? And that connects to the universal mind, if you let it. And that's what this entire course is about. How do you open up the gates here to tie your soul in? Those are like tentacles to the universal mind and suck all that information in. Now, the universal mind is what gives you inspiration, right? You suck in all of the information from the outside world. You can get inspired just by being out in nature or just by paying attention to what's happening to you in the present moment and not getting wrapped up in your ego. When your ego's too involved, when your brain's going, the birds, then you're not going to be able to get inspiration from the universal mind. Now, the universal mind is also the thing that accepts inspiration. So that's how you inspire others. And that's also a huge part of what this class is. How can you be inspired? And how can you use your innate gift to inspire others to be better, to do better, to live better, to live healthier? How can you be of greatest service to the outer world? And that's what we're going to work on through all of these classes. So this week is all about awareness. We're going to be aware of our five senses. We're going to be aware of what's happening in our solar plexus. We're going to be aware of what's happening in our ego and learn how to let that go. And then also allow ourselves to be inspired and to give inspiration from what's happening outside of ourselves. Okay? So that is the first week of Life Renovations. Now you guys check in. I'll try to put out a video daily so that you guys can have, a little bit of something to do every day to work on yourself. Some of that will be guided journaling. Some of it will be meditation. I will be posting stretching videos and doing live classes as well. I've had a little trouble with my live stream lately, so for those of you who are doing live stream classes, just keep trying. If any time it zonks out on you, just go back to a different playlist and watch a different stretching video. I mean, there's a ton of pre-recorded videos on there. You don't have to take the live class, but it is kind of fun to have the live class. We're going to talk a little bit about diet too. If you guys are excited about this class, go ahead and like this video and leave a comment for me. Be sure to subscribe by clicking, it's either over there or over there. I'm not sure which one, but there should be a little box that looks like a play button. Click that box. Make sure to also click the bell icon so that you get notifications. And one last thing, since I am working from home these days and my studio downtown is shut down because of our lockdown, I'm not making any income. I'm giving these classes out for free because I know that you guys need them. But if you do find value in these classes or if you want to support me through this process, I've put a link below for my PayPal account and feel free to make a contribution. That would super help me out and make sure that I can keep giving videos and hopefully keep my studio open once we get, once we're allowed to be back in the outside world again. So we'll see how it goes, right? So stay strong, you guys. Stay healthy, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.